Can't call you pinky no more, man.
Yeah, they do. They call
you
me
red?
No, I'm either plastic or Mr. Christmas.
Mr. Chris?
Yeah, Chris, my other truck is
What model is that?
Huh?
What model is that?
Plastic.
Huh? What model is that? What?
That's 450 when I bought it.
That looks good, man.
We got second truck now. How does it go? Well, you doing the milk all the time, or it's out of Indianola, right? You mean you don't have to do their groceries? What are you doing over here?
The people may put in my truck.
Is that what they have? What they sent you over here to do?
That's the only reason I'm up here. That's the only reason I'm up here.
You get home much?
Every weekend, I get all of my weekends off.
You get any money?
I get three. I run down there 3 times a week. That's 3,100 miles. So when you're, I was 2 runs, 2 runs.
You got a loose light over here. That's going to be much too.
3 runs was about $2,400. But I made 2,000. But I was driving my truck back and forth trying to up. I was money. Yeah. A lot of work jumping in there. Moved it right on out. There wasn't no gimmick in it.
He's got 900,000 miles on here. And that's the owner of the truck here.
That's the owner right there. That water was jumping in there. It ain't.
This chain was jumping. That chain is hardly moving now.
We've been asked by NMF to do a little testing here at Champ Truck, and what we did was we did not get yesterday in due to a crash, but today we got the opportunity to test it in a couple different areas. We had Optima Truck, which has been going through a lot with a new driver. The transmission's been heating up. So we started out today at 147 on a 15-minute run, 182 on a 20-minute, 173 on a 20-minute. We then drained down, put in NMF, and ran a 35-minute heat. And the worst part of the day, probably 95 degrees, track temperature was 125, and the temperature in the transmission actually dropped to 160 degrees. So that's pretty good results. We also did, earlier today, we tried it in our Drago truck, which is 14 liter also, and we pumped up the horsepower, and during practice we had 170. During heat 1, after 20 minutes, the oil temperature was up to 198 in the engine. We then ran NMF in heat 2, 20 minutes also, and the temperature dropped to 180. And during the final heat trophy dash, which was 35 minutes, it came back in at 180 degrees. So far the testing's going pretty good. pretty darn satisfied.
I'm Alan Bowles. This is Ricky Profit with Jupiter Motorsports. We use our vehicles. We do the rear ends, transmission, driveline, radiator. It works great, make everything run cooler. It's a really great product. I would suggest using it. What do you think about it, Rick?
I like it. We've started using these race trucks. When we got here, we had issues with our power steering, overheat, and we put some in and fixed it. Our front hubs, we ran them just as hard as they could run. When we come in, it was they were like 100 degrees, where they should be twice that. So we have no problem with it. It's great. You need to look it up, get the website, get you some of it.
So, can you tell us when's the first time you raced?
Ever?
Yes.
2001.
And what do you usually race?
I usually race dirt off-road. I raced motocross for about 5 years, and then I got into short course racing, which is like it's like motocross with trucks.
So, okay.
Yeah, a lot of dirt stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So this is your first time doing this type of race?
Yeah. The only thing I've ever raced on pavement is indoor go-karts, and we just do that to like blow off steam or have fun.
So how did you like it out there in the field with the boys?
It was fun. You know, I race guys all the time anyway, so for me, I love it. You know, the guys they've been great. Everybody races really clean, and I think since this is such a new sport for them as well, you know, they've only had one other race besides this one. So as far as that goes, we're kind of all on the same page. They just probably have a little more time in the truck.
When racing, what most excites you while you're racing?
I really like to perfect things. So what I really like about this course is I'm trying to nail my lines every turn, nail my shifting every time, and get like one perfect lap in. And then I try to put as many perfect laps together as I can, and that's how you get, you know, your time fast. It's hard out here with a truck that big, so I'm usually blowing a corner somewhere or, you know, screwing up shifts somewhere. But you know, when I can get those perfect laps in, that's like the best.
So, is there anything else you want to try more after this?
You know, I found that I really liked trying new stuff. Yeah, no, I really like the pavement, the road racing stuff. You know, I've been asked if I want to try to do like stock car racing or you know, sprints or anything like that. Rally car seems fun. You know, road racing seems like a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm just kind of up for anything really. Yeah, as long as it's fast, it's got some power.
Do you think you'll do this a little bit more, or?
Yeah, I'd like to. I just told Optimum Batteries actually that if, you know, they need me to come out or want me to come out for any other races this year, I'd be more than happy to do it because it's a great group of people and it's a really cool new series and I'm having a really good time. So.
Is it more easier to drive a truck than driving motocross and all those?
It is, and it is. Just because, you know, what I do, there's the whole jumping involved, and that's like a whole other dimension of driving. So dirt is very unpredictable. It changes every lap. So you're always having to change your lines constantly throughout a race. You know, sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's dry, it gets in the ruts, and then you have all the jumping in on top of it. So when you're close quarter racing with people and you're going off jumps, it's really easy to get crossed up. And so there's that whole aspect of it. My SR1 that I race, it's like an R1 UTV. There's a lot of shifting and wheeling, and you're just really busy in the cab. Whereas this is more, you know, for me, thank God, it's like I'm really running in 2 gears out there. So it's more just finessing the truck and making sure I'm not, you know, breaking loose or spinning out. But it's still really fun. Like there's a whole different kind of fun.
Do you think you want to do NASCAR after this?
I've been asked.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Can I repeat?
Yeah.
Do you think you want to do NASCAR since after this?
I've been asked that a lot. I would certainly not say no to, you know, maybe trying out like a K&N Pro Series truck or you know, some one of the lower level types of racing, you know, that lead up to that. Yeah, I'm down. I've never tried a circle track, so why not?
And what is your favorite car?
Right now, it's totally out of my element. Bugatti. Because it's hard on wheels. But I drive a Chevy Silverado, so.
So they put NMF in your vehicle, correct?
Not mine. They actually put it in the yellow truck, nicknamed Drago,
Okay.
and they put it in the oil. And from what they were talking about, we were just eating lunch. They said that it dropped the oil temp about 20 degrees on the last run. So yeah, that's cool. They were pretty excited about that.
Good. Wow. It's gonna be running.
So now they're like, so what else can we put it in?
So it's running beautiful.
Yeah, it did a great job.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a unique concept. I think it takes a little getting your head wrapped around what it does exactly. So but it's cool. Go NMF.
Today we're going to show you how to apply NMF ionic friction reducer to a semi-truck. First I'll tell you a little bit about NMF. If you're not using NMF in your trucks, friction is costing you way more than necessary in replacement parts, maintenance, oil, and fuel. NMF is scientifically unique. It's the only product which reduces friction and makes vehicles and machines run more efficiently by removing the cause of friction. Friction is caused by a negative-positive bonding and attractive electrical relationship. NMF reverses that into one which is negative-negative, repelling and non-frictional. Whenever the NMF molecules come into contact with a frictional field caused by either solid objects like motor parts or liquids such as fuel or radiator fluid, the NMF molecules release electrons. The result is a same-charged, non-frictional operating environment. NMF is not coating your engine or parts with any slippery liquid or solid particles or goo. Motor coating is not healthy because it traps hydrocarbon residue from combustion to your engine, and static electricity attracts that hydrocarbon residue with metal particulates into crystals of abrasive grit which scrape away at your engine and your parts, and so that's an unhealthy situation. So you don't want those things coated onto your engine. NMF repels the residue away from itself and away from the compartment, so it's suspended in the oil, and so it comes out cleanly in an oil change. So that's how NMF works. So the mixture rate for the engine is 1 ounce per quart of oil. In the power steering, you'd put a total of 1 ounce, and in the radiator also 1 ounce. Now, NMF will make the engine run more efficiently, and it will clean it. Now, how's NMF going to clean your engine? Before you use NMF, due to static electricity, contaminants have been clinging inside your engine. NMF same charges your engine compartment and the contaminants so that the contaminants are repelled away from your engine compartment, suspended in the oil, and they'll come out cleanly in your oil. So the first time you change your oil after applying NMF, your oil will be dirtier than usual because all of that stuff has come out. Afterwards, when you continue to use NMF, your oil will be cleaner. You will see through oil analysis that you have much less wear, much less in terms of metal particulates in your oil. Mixture rate in the fuel is 1 ounce per 20 gallons. Now, why would you put NMF in the fuel? Whenever the fuel is forced through the small opening of the fuel injector, that generates static electricity. And the static electricity causes the fuel droplets to be larger and thus burn less efficiently. NMF, by removing the static electricity, allows the fuel droplets to be smaller. You get more oxygen to fuel ratio and a more efficient burn. It also will clean out the fuel injectors. So now we're going to apply NMF to the transmission. It will be 16 ounces. Okay, next is application to the differentials. You'll put 12 ounces into each pumpkin. And on the back here, you've got a plug, then you can use an automotive syringe to put those 12 ounces in, just like this. Okay, now we're applying NMF to the fifth wheel grease.
See, when you got, if you don't have anything on that, it'll be metal to metal. It'll be hard to turn because it drags. But when you got this on there, you don't even notice it. It's like nothing there.
So what we do is you add 1 ounce per side here for the front hubs. Let's say you want an inexpensive way to test how well NMF works and see if you want to use it. Get an infrared thermometer and measure the temperature of your hubs, the operating temperature after you've driven a certain distance, and then put 1 ounce of NMF in each hub. Then measure the operating temperatures after going that same distance. You'll see a significant drop in the temperatures here. And when you have a drop in heat, that's an indication of a drop in friction. So this is an inexpensive way for you to evaluate whether you'd like to use NMF.
Hi folks, I'm Stephen Brown with Stephen Brown Trucking. Got to know Joe from NMF, and he introduced me to a great new product. I've been running it in my entire rig, front to rear, from the hubs to the power steering, to the motor, to the radiator, the transmission, the rear ends, the whole gamut. One of the main things I seen right off the bat was the dramatic drop in engine temperature and water temperature. I pull a lot of heavy loads coming in out of Kentucky, down into North Carolina, South Carolina. Pull quite a few heavy haul hills. With a twin turbo motor, if anybody knows about a twin turbo, they do tend to run just a little bit hotter than the rest of the category. I immediately seen a dramatic drop in temperature. Went from running between 210 to 220 degrees climbing the mountain to where I'm running about 198 now. Hub temperatures, typically you could see a range of about 160 to 180 degrees. They're all the way down between 100 and 120 now. Haven't checked the temps on the rear end of the transmission yet, but if anything suggests, I would think that it's quite a bit lower. I'm superbly happy with the product and would highly recommend it to anybody out there that would like to see something that does work, does what it says it's going to do. There's this, it's a wonderful product. Happy to endorse it.
My name's Eric Smith. I'm from Wayne, Nebraska. This is my truck. It's an 06 Peterbilt 379. It's got a 500 horse Cummins motor in it and a 13-speed transmission. I got it about 4 months ago and I've driven it 40,000 miles approximately. When I first got it, first 3 weeks out, I averaged 4.3 miles per gallon. I went from 4.3 to 5.0 to 5.1 miles per gallon. Since that time, I've put it in the engine, the transmission, both of the drive axles, and this truck is now getting about 5.8 miles per gallon. I use it in the fuel as well to help with the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel that we have, to help with the lubricity of the fuel. The NMF has been a great product for me to use. I feel that it saves me enough money that I can make my truck payment with the money it saves. So I went from 4.3 miles a gallon to averaging 5.8. Bounce miles I have on this trailer and truck are probably 5%, maybe 8% of the miles that I drive in a month. So almost all the miles that I have are loaded miles, and I run 86.5. I've got a 49-foot spread axle grain trailer that I haul grain and fertilizer and so forth in. So that's what I have to say. The NMF is a great product and I hope you try it.
Steve Underwood here on a windy day. You can hear the wind probably. We're in Iowa.
The difference was noticeable right away. Went on down the road and went trucking, and my maintenance costs dropped as the months went by, and my dependability was fantastic. The ability to climb the hills was a lot better. I gained, at least with pulling a 45,000 pound load with the dry box, I gained 10 mile to 15 mile an hour up the hills because of defrictionizing the motor, transmission, and rear ends. And also my fuel mileage was better just because of the fact that I didn't have to push the foot pedal near as hard. And of course I run my cruise control at all times as much as I can. And but my fuel mileage was improved. The motor ran quieter and smoother. My transmission was smoother and quieter, and shifted a lot easier.
Hi, my name's Scott Trebway. I drive a truck for Jupiter Enterprise, haul coal every day out of Harlan, Kentucky to South Carolina. We started using NMF in our Peterbilt trucks, cat motors. We use it in everything. We use it in the motors, we use it in the differentials, front hubs, and it's dramatically reduced our engine temperatures, our hub temperatures, less friction. And less friction means better fuel economy. So that's helped us with our fuel economy. It's a really great product. You really need to try it.
Hello, I'm David Gonzalez. This is my truck. It's a 98 Peterbilt with a 550 cat, 18-speed, 355 rear ends. I've been pulling with John Christner Trucking since '01. I've been using NMF in my truck, and it runs a lot smoother, a lot quieter. I've been using it in the truck and the motor, transmissions, rear ends, radiator, power steering. With this oil, I don't have no problem climbing these hills. I get good fuel mileage. From 6.2, I'm up to like 7.1 right now on fuel mileage. Oil, I'm not using it. Rear ends are nice and cool. Transmission stays nice and cool. Climbing these hills out here, I ain't got no problem with these heavy loads. Shifting is a lot smoother, a lot easier going in, and the only thing I found out is I'm from old school. You go by hearing when you shift, and now it's like retraining myself. I gotta look down because it's so quiet that I gotta look at my RPMs to shift the gears again. I gotta retrain myself to my own truck. It's shifting is a lot smoother and quieter, so going down the road you really don't know what you're doing until you look down at your RPMs and speedometer. Like a couple times I caught myself out there on the road, I was doing like 75, 80 miles an hour in a 65 miles an hour zone and no noise. The pulling performance, I noticed I could pull a lot better, but the thing is, like, I'm going down, I'm looking for the downshifting part, and when you're going up the hills, you don't downshift no more. You downshift very little, and it pulls a lot better.
Hi, I'm Randy Simmons. I was introduced to this NMF friction reducer. I put it in my 58 Chevy truck, which has a 5.9 liter Cummins, and I noticed right off the bat that it quieted the engine down, smoothed out the idle. And when I moved from California here to Colorado Springs, pulling a lot of grades, towing my trailer, it definitely kept the engine cool, everything running smooth. I've also added it to the transmission and the power steering, and noticed a great deal of difference just by adding this.
Hi, I'm O.C. Lane. I'm leased to Bennett Motor Express. Everything works. I don't have any repairs. Nothing seems to break down on it. I don't know why, other than the fact that everything works so good now. It's, no more bearings going bad, no more leaks. It doesn't use oil, and the fuel mileage keeps going up. I started using it in the fuel. The fuel mileage is going up. It's cleaning my tanks out. I don't hear the fuel pump running anymore. Everything is quiet. When you drive down the road, you think you're driving a car. It's unreal, the difference in the smoothness. You don't feel any vibration in the steering wheel anymore, in the gear shift, nothing. Everything is smooth. And I truly recommend this because I gained about 50 RPM by using this. I run down the road the same speed every day, 62, 63, and it takes 50 RPM less to do it. And that, my friend, is money. And this truck was doing 5.5. I'm now at the 6.5 to 7.5 miles a gallon, depending on load variations. Nothing gets hot because it controls the temperature, the wear, the tear, and the smoothness. It takes out all the vibration. It's amazing what it does. And it just, I can't believe anybody that would see what it does would not buy it. It's just unreal what it does. You can put it in your lawnmowers, your cars, whatever you want. It's just takes out all the vibration, smoothness. It's almost like balancing your truck. It takes the smoothness out so much. So I truly recommend it. You can pull loads, you can check your bearings. There's very little warmness to the hubs anymore at all, whereas before it was hot. Now it's just warm. And the fuel pump is quieter, the engine is quieter, the rear ends don't whine going down the road. You hear nothing. The transmission shifts like it's new. It's unreal.
I run it in my trucks. You can see I haul oversized. I'm sitting at 92,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. I run this stuff in my truck. It decreases the blow-by in my truck, decreases my turbo lag. I get better performance from my truck. I run it in every vehicle that I own. It quiets the engine down in the truck, performs better. I put it in my wife's car. You can't even hear the car run. I cut my oil consumption down. It knocked the temperature down in my transmission, my drives. When I first put it in my truck, I noticed a 5 to 10 degree temperature difference in my drive temperature. My transmission, I lost about 7 degrees on my transmission temperature. The motor temperature, I lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 degrees off my engine temperature. The truck pulls a lot better, runs a lot better, and I gain about a quarter to a half a mile to the gallon on fuel mileage. And pulling heavy weight like this, we need every advantage that we can get. And I can't stress strong enough what this does for a motor pulling heavy weight. I put it in my lawnmower, everything. Whatever I have that is a gasoline or diesel engine, I put it in there, and the performance is just next to instantaneous difference of how the truck performs, how the car performs. My wife, she's a very good example. When I first started running this, she could hear me coming to my house about 1.5 miles away. And when I put this stuff in, she didn't know I was home until I walked in the door.
Hi, I'm Robert Brown. I work with Alan Bowles with Jupiter Enterprises. This is my 379 Pete. I met Joe here at the racetrack, and we started using his product, the NMF, and have seen a lot of changes with our trucks. We haul coal for a living. We go in and out of Kentucky every day, down into South Carolina, a lot of long pulls, a lot of heavy loads. And our biggest thing we've found out is the trucks have been running cooler. And that's what we're after, you know, such heavy loads on these trucks. And I've had wheel bearing problems over the last year. Started using the NMF in my hubs and have seen a great difference as far as the temperature on the hubs. And we're using it from one end to the other. And the transmissions, rear ends, all the temperatures have dropped dramatically. And I'm a firm believer in using it. It's a good product, and you should get you some and try it out.